violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. And let's get into the video.
Atlanta surpassed 100 homicides for the year. Atlanta's deputy police chief says 90% of those homicides involved handguns and 80% happened between people who knew each other.
The violence is frustrating for us.
But this news has some people believing the rise in crime is related to defunding the police. And crime.
Okay, so let's go back. They're basically saying that the homicide rate just surpassed 100 in Atlanta, and that's a lot for Atlanta, because over the years Atlanta has gotten more and more dangerous, especially the metro Atlanta area. I've been doing stories on that to keep you guys updated and safe, and just understanding how you need to be aware of your surroundings and whatnot. And a lot of these people are pretty much attributing Atlanta being more hostile to the defund the police movement, which in all actuality it was being chanted and it was being parroted in the Atlanta streets, especially during these protests, but it never actually happened where they directly took funds from the police department. But Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, she basically did not stand in solidarity with the police officers, especially when the Rashard Brooks situation went down, which honestly, from my perspective, should he have got shot and killed? Probably not that far, but he did resist arrest and then shot a taser at the officer. So it's kind of like it was a justified shooting on paper, okay? But after that, a lot of protests went down. They burned down the Wendy's and whatnot. And ever since then, Atlanta has been on fire. Not to mention the George Floyd situation and how that affected the whole country, and the sentiment toward law enforcement in general. But anyways, this woman, Sandra Fuller, says, keep defunding and disrespecting law enforcement. Keep making it impossible for them to do their jobs. Keep putting them in jail for a death that is justified while arresting a criminal. Keep letting anyone at all into the country. What do you expect to happen?
Is related.
Then this other woman, Barbara Dixon, said, keep defunding police and letting punks run wild.
To defunding the police, so we're verifying. To do so, we pulled the city's approved budgets for the last 4 years, checked out recent laws, and resurfaced the mayor's State of the City address from this year. Now, there were calls to defund the police stemming from last year's protests, and the city of Atlanta even discussed withholding $73 million from the police budget in 2020.
So that was Keisha Lance Bottoms' proposal, the mayor, saying that she wanted to withhold $73 million from the police department's budget, which is insane, especially for a city like Atlanta. Like, if you want Atlanta to turn into New York City, defund the police.
But that never passed. Looking back at 2019, the city's police department budget was $194 million.
So what I will say about and they're going to go into a spiel about the increases in the police budget. So just pay attention here.
Since then, every year the budget's increased to $207 million in 2020, $215 million in 2021, and $230 million.
Okay, guys, so watch these increases, because what they're doing is basically they're not equating for the CPI, which basically tracks inflation. Not only does it track inflation on consumer goods and consumer products, right? It's the consumer price index, but it also tracks inflation with when it comes to the GDP and how that relates to, it's a whole bunch of economic things, right? But watch, 2019, the budget was $194 million. In 2020, it increased by 13 million, right? And then it increased again by 8 million. And then in 2020, the budget is supposed to increase again by 15 million. The reason why the budget is increasing is because inflation increased. So they're basically adjusting what was $194 million in 2019 is not $194 million in 2020 going on, or 2021 going on 2022. So what you've got to understand is that the police budget, although it is increasing, it's increasing because of inflation, not specifically because of because they wanted to increase the police budget to make the city safer. So I think this is a false equivalency that is made by these 11 Alive reporters, because they're trying to say, hey, the police budget increased, but it's like, no, what really happened is the price of goods increased, the value of the dollar decreased, so the budget had to replace that to keep things where they are now. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify what's going on with this increase in the police budget. So
that's been approved for 2022. Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms says some of that money will go to retention bonuses and additional staff.
We are committed to putting an additional 250 new officers on the street during the next fiscal year.
Even if the city wanted to cut the budget by a lot, it couldn't. A Georgia law passed in early 2021 prevents cities and counties from cutting police budgets more than 5% in a single year.
And that's good. That's good.
While homicides are up so far for the year, it's not because the police department was defunded.
So the next story I got, man, is a local one. A teen was arrested for making threats to Cedar Shoals High School, and that is the rival to Clark Central, my alma mater. So anyways, let's get into it. A 16-year-old Cedar Shoals High School student was arrested by Athens Clarke County Police after they said he made threats to shoot up the school. Police said the 16-year-old was identified by multiple students and parents after posting the threats via social media. Investigators said they started looking into it Sunday after getting multiple calls about it. They also said there have been multiple rumors of the threat circulating around the school Sunday night into Monday morning as students turned to classes. They want parents and the students to know there is no active threat at the high school. Okay. So Athens police said the 16-year-old was arrested by the Department of Juvenile Justice and is facing charges of felony terroristic threats. Because he is a juvenile, police will not release the suspect's name. So they're not going to release his name. Was he a brother? Well, I guess we would kind of have to go to the demographics to surmise that. So here we go. We are at Cedar Shoals High School's demographics on schooldigger.com. It's a great way to figure out which are the best schools in your county, in your city, or in your state. And just looking at some raw numbers, the racial breakdown is 53% African American, 29% Hispanic, and 13% white. And that is pretty much reflective of the high schools here. I think Clark Central has a larger African American population or demographic, if you will. But if we wanted to break down the numbers and say, okay, who really made this threat? There's a 13% chance that a white person made it, almost 30% chance that a Hispanic person, and it's pretty much over 50% chance that a African American person made this threat. Now, was it some social media beef? Was he being bullied? Who knows? They didn't release his name, so I can't really get information on that. I'll probably ask around the city and see who it was. I'll end up finding out. I'm not gonna put his name out there, but you know, we will be able to see what type of situation he was in, because it might be like the same little scenario of that Texas school shooter. You know, he was the plug. He got jumped. They robbed him. Now he wanted his get back. It could be something like that. Who knows? But pretty much, if you look at the percentage of students that are on free and discounted lunch, it pretty much tells you how good the school is based off of education-wise, right? And that just shows you that 86% of the students are on free or reduced lunch, which means that, you know, the net worth of the parents is not that high at this high school. Now, you know, I'm not saying, oh, you broke if you on free and reduced lunch. Some people just be jibbing the system to not have to pay for lunch, which honestly, if you're going to a public school, I don't think you should have to pay for lunch. That's just me. But, you know, Cedar Shoals isn't the best school. Okay. They're not the best school. And you can pretty much see what's going on here. These, they got literature and composition assessments, which shows you that they are underperforming in pretty much all of these summations, right? And the green bar is the county's performance overall. The red bar is the state's performance overall, and the blue bar is the the school's performance overall. So as you can see, Cedar Shoals is lacking in education on pretty much all stats when it comes to economics, when it comes to history, biology, geometry, algebra, literature, and reading and comprehension. So not the best school. And that is why you continually see situations like this happen at schools like this. Now, I'm not saying that they get a school shooter threat all the time. Okay, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that there are a lot of fights, Cedar Shoals and Clark Central alike. Okay, so, and that is because of, you know, I would say education, the demographics as well, have a lot to do with it. But I just want to make people aware, especially if you're sending your kids to any of these public schools, just understand what you are getting yourself and your children into before making that final decision.
For talks between the cities of St. Louis and Kansas City on ways to prevent gun violence interrupted today in South St. Louis by apparent gunfire. Happened in Dutchtown as News 4's Dion Broxton was interviewing the mayors of both cities. He joins us now live from Dutchtown from the Cure Violence headquarters. So Dion, walk us through what happened here.
Paige, the media was standing right here when we heard what sounded like gunshots. It came from that direction.
What sounded like gunshots? Bruh, we know what gunshots sound like.
And some people even went inside. Here's how the mayor of St. Louis responded.
Is that, oh, isn't that wonderful? Well, I hear gunshots in my neighborhood every night. My son and I fall asleep to the lullaby of gunshots in the distance every night because I'm the first mayor in over 20 years to be born, raised, and still live in North St. Louis.
That's not a good thing. I mean, she's saying, oh, well, me and my son hear gunshots every night and this and the third. It's like, honey, this is your city. You're supposed to be taking control. Yet you're like, oh, well, everybody has to. If I got to deal with it, everybody's got to deal with it. That's basically what she said. And this is why a lot of these Democratic leaders, they pretty enable a lot of the crime that goes on in the black community. It makes you beg the question that, do they really care, or are they just trying to fill a position and you know, get the accolades of being a mayor?
And it's unfortunate, you know, yes, I heard it, but I didn't flinch because, you know, I guess it's a part of my life now.
Wow. So it's a part of your life. I mean, is this a city that you would want to live in, where you're hearing gunshots to bed? Okay. And look at all the representation. We got 3 brothers, 1 sister, and a white chick. And this brother got a bald head with dreads in the back. I mean, bruh, just shave it off. These dudes be doing the most, bruh. Just shave it off. But it's like, we got the representation. We got black leaders. Why can we not solve the gun problem? Why can we? It's not even a gun problem. Why can we not solve the crime problem, the criminality element of the community? Some would say maybe they don't want to. Okay? Some would say that they're being easy on crime. We know the defund the police movement went through St. Louis as well.
Now, just moments before, Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas and St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones talked about what both cities are learning about each other to curb crime. Homicide numbers are down in both cities. The number of homicides in Kansas City this year is at 128. Last year, the city set the record at 156. Homicides this year in St. Louis are at 161. That's far less than last year at 263. Both
God. So they had 263 murders last year. Wow. Brothers and sisters, what are we doing?
mayors said they're taking what's successful from police departments in other cities and applying it.
If there's something that I saw in St. Louis last night, it was seeing social workers, health professionals who were out there de-escalating and dealing with situations in our community, helping relieve some of our police officers and others.
I had visited Denver as well, and that's where we also saw this cops and clinicians plan and work without officers, actually. They started as cops and clinicians, but now they have a total non-officer response. And hopefully we'll be able to get to that point.
Coming up at 5, find where these mayors want to fund more money to. Live in Dutchtown, Dion Broxton, News 4.
There were so many people at that party last night that one of the guests in attendance told us that even the host was trying to get folks to leave at one point, especially as the number of people unknown to them began to grow. It was some.
Wow. So this was a Halloween party in Illinois. Shout out to Act Nation News. The host basically was trying to get people to leave the party because it got too lit. Before the gunshots even rang out, the host was trying to get people to leave the party. And if you watch Act Nation or Ock, you know that you don't tell brothers to leave anywhere unless you're gonna leave right after that. So these people made a fatal mistake, and it cost the lives of a couple people who attended the party.
Time around after 12:30 in the morning when two men, at least one of them in a ski mask, opened fire. Holly Matthews was 22 years old. She was studying to become an arborist at Joliet Junior College and had gotten engaged just 2 weeks ago while on vacation in Utah.
Damn, so somebody just lost their fiance. She was at a Halloween party. Hopefully her boyfriend was there. Because I don't know, y'all know how these girls be dressing at the Halloween party, but dang. It's OV, bruh.
Last night, she was out with two girlfriends celebrating Halloween when she was shot and killed at a house party in unincorporated Joliet.
She went to a party in Frankfurt, was there until midnight, and the party ended. And then one of her friends, I think that the girl she was with, said, "Let's go to this other party."
Holly and her friends were there only briefly and had, by all accounts, decided to leave when police say two men standing on the porch began firing into a crowd of people gathered.
So the Stoop Boys, they posted up on the porch. I know what this is, guys. Like, I know when you see these dudes posted up, they're on demon time. Posted up, ain't talking to nobody in the party, just mean mugging people who walking in. Like, you're sitting on the front porch, people got to come in the party, and you got 3 or 4 brothers who just like posted up, probably busting slack on demon time, mean mugging. You walk into the party, they don't say, "Hey, how you doing?" or nothing.
Gathered in the backyard. Those there say the party had swelled to around 200. In the chaos, at least 12 people were shot, 2 of them fatally. Holly and a 22-year-old man identified as Jonathan Ceballos, a childhood friend of his, Nathan, was among those at the party last night.
He was a great dude, straight A dude, great at sports. Just overall in general, just a genuinely good person. I knew his dad coached me, I know his brother.
Investigators spent the day going through the home, gathering evidence and talking to witnesses, trying to determine what led to the violence.
I just talked to her yesterday morning, and she was going to come over today for Halloween. She was all looking forward to it, and
damn,
we're going to carve pumpkins and the whole 9 yards.
Just a young girl in a costume for a Halloween party, and lost her life for no reason, absolutely no reason.
I mean, what do y'all think, man? Do you think these folks were woke, or were they chanting defund the police too? Were they, with the BLM movement? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below.
Because this took place in unincorporated Joliet, it is the Will County Sheriff's Office that is in charge of the investigation. They're asking anyone who may have been at the party last night and who may have cell phone video of what happened to turn it over so that they may be able to track down those responsible for this terrible shooting.
2 people are dead. Several more are wounded in a shooting at a Halloween party in Joliet Township. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jackie Bang.
And I'm Tamon Bradley. WGN's Jewel Hillary joins us live with details. Jewel, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Tamon. Good evening, Jackie. Authorities with the Will County Sheriff's Office are still on the scene and need the public's help looking for the shooters from this early morning.
So they're looking for the shooters. How many of you guys think that people are going to snitch? I mean, maybe they will, because it looked like it was a lot of white folks at the party. Maybe they will have some type of description and whatnot. But we pretty much know how these things go usually.
Halloween party. One person that we spoke to says that the majority of the party was filled with teenagers. Sadly, as you mentioned, several people were shot and 2 people were killed.
All right, 10-4. We got medics pulling up now.
The crime scene tape along Grinton Street near Jackson Avenue canvasses the area as Will County Sheriff's investigators figure out why a Halloween party with an estimated 200 people went from fun to tragic. The multiple gunshots were fired near a DJ booth in the backyard of a home at 1018 East Jackson Street.
And see, these dudes, they literally just shoot without any regard. They're not aiming, anything like that. They just fire off into crowds.
One gunshot wound to have you still breathing.
We're told the party started late Saturday night. And just after 12:30 Sunday morning, a sergeant with the Will County Sheriff's Office heard 10 to 12 shots fired. Once arriving to the area, the sergeant witnessed over 100 people fleeing east on Jackson Street.
Even when we ran, we were just getting bombarded everywhere.
So look, you know, a lot of the witnesses that are come out are Hispanic. So maybe the shooters were Hispanic, maybe. Or maybe it was some black shooters they pulled up and they were beefing with the Hispanics because they were told to leave. Who knows, okay? But, I mean, it's crazy, bruh. It's crazy because this is a mass shooting. Halloween mass shooting at that. I haven't heard any real reports on it in any mainstream media, so...
Everyone was getting stepped on.
25-year-old Adolfo Sandoval and his girlfriend were a part of that crowd running for their lives.
And all of a sudden, we all just started running, throwing ourselves to the floor. I threw my girlfriend to the floor, and I fell like right next to her.
More than a dozen people were hit by the gunfire. 2 people were killed and 4 others were rushed to local hospitals with life-threatening injuries. Victims were found in the backyard and nearby homes. Witnesses told detectives there were 2 shooters who fired weapons from an elevated position on a porch looking down over the crowd.
Wow. So, I mean, they was just on demon time, just on the porch, just shooting off indiscriminately. It's like they didn't even have a target. They just was like, let's shoot the party up. I don't know if this is some type of gang initiation, but this is what these dudes be on, man. Straight demon time.
I heard a lot of shots, but I didn't thought it was real until I seen like a lot of cops.
Ricardo Asensio was playing a video game nearby when the shots caught his attention. He then took a look at Snapchat for more information.
I looked on that, and this was like a lot of people were posting it that it got shot up.
Authorities need your help looking for the suspects. If you were at this party or have any information, including video, that you can pass along to officials with the Will County Sheriff's Office, you need to contact them immediately. You can also leave an anonymous tip. We do have that contact
I like that little Burberry scarf that she got on, though. That joint's fly.
Information on our website, WGNTV.com. Reporting live from Joliet Township, I'm Jewel Hillary, WGN News.
Gang violence and other kind of violence. It is what it is.